All right. So good evening, guys, and it's a really good day to have you guys joining us on the live market review session. Because this is the first one that we're going to be having this year. All right. So it's really good to be back. I've had a fantastic holiday, a really tremendous one, filled with so many interesting and beautiful activities and plans and projections for this current year. So if you can hear me loud and clear, the audio is perfect on your end. Please drop an emoji in the group so that I can take a quick census of that. All right, beautiful. Audio is good. All right, guys. So here right now we're going to be getting started. All right. If you have questions or inquiries or whatever, please just type it in the group. All right. For the sake of the audio integrity, I will not be unmuting anybody tonight. All right. Besides, it's not a question and answer session, so I would rather prefer that you type your comments or questions or whatever it is inside of the group. Having said that, let's dig right into what we're looking at for tonight. All right. So if this is your first time, my name is Adetola Freeman, and I am the lead instructor at Easy FX Academy. All right. So we're going to be starting by looking at the indices as usual. And the reason why we look at the indices is because, for example, DXY tells us the strength of the dollar. All right. And based on that strength that we have observed from the dollar, it becomes easier to, project, all right, or to, forecast what is likely going to happen on the major pairs, which are GBP, USD, Usdjpy, and the likes. All right. So that is only possible when we're able to, first of all, come to that place of understanding of how these indices can be correlated with actual currency pairs. All right. So we're going to be starting with the first one as usual, which is the AXY. AXY is the index for the Australian dollar. All right. I've done some of the analysis already so that it can be much easier for us to just flow with tonight's session. All right. So as far as AXY is concerned, this is the daily time frame. So we already have a pivot drawn here. All right. This is a pivot from the daily time frame that has been marked out already. And we can see that currently AXY has reacted from that pivot zone. Okay, AXY has reacted from that pivot zone. If you go lower to probably 4 hours or the 1 hour time frame, okay, you're going to see that currently it's shown the possibility of a break and retest. All right, right over here. So we're seeing the possibility that price comes back to retest into possibly somewhere around here. All right, somewhere around this week at the top here. All right, before it all goes down to bits. All right, so price returning to that point and then dropping drastically would be my expectation, preferably to somewhere around here. Okay, so that's for AXY. All right, the next one we'll look at is the CXY, all right, which is the index for the Canadian dollar. All right, so let's look at that quickly. All right, so this is the index for the Canadian dollar. This is currently one of the pivot zones that we can see from the daily time frame. All right, as you can see, for those of you who have taken the course, we've gone through the course, you know why this is a pivot zone. Okay, for those of you who can guess, the reasons are kind of highlighted. All right, so you can really easily figure it out with that piece of information. All right, nonetheless, we're seeing that price currently is an overall downtrend. All right, but we've had recent break of structure higher here. All right, and then price has also broken out of the trend line over here. All right, we've gotten a break of structure and then a break of the trend line bullish. However, price is coming back into the pivot zone. So what I'm expecting is that price comes into the pivot zone. All right, you can see that there's also a trend line resistance around that spot. Okay, comes into this area, then comes lower for a retest. All right, before we possibly get markets moving All right, sorry, I shouldn't have used that. Let me use the path tool so that it becomes clearer. Okay, so we'll do this, and possibly something like this. But remember, this is on the daily time frame, which means that this movement could take a month, all right, to play out completely. But nonetheless, we'll follow it through. And this means that we're expecting some slight strength from the Canadian dollar, all right, before we can now talk about the weakness on the Canadian dollar. So next, we'll look at the BXY. All right, so this is the BXY, which is simply the index for the pound, all right, the Great British Pounds. All right, and you can see this is the pivot zone marked out, marked out here already. All right, this is the pivot zone, and currently price has shown us or given us a recent break above that area. All right, using this smaller pivot zone. All right, reacting from this smaller pivot zone. Hold on. All right, reacting from this smaller pivot zone. So currently, we're seeing a strong possibility of price coming all the way higher to this pivot zone, all right, and then possibly a retest before we break higher, all right. So that's the likelihood, all right, or worst case scenario, when we come back for this retest, price could also possibly just break lower for a more comfortable retracement, all right. To retest some of the lower levels of this impulse that broke structure, broke pivot zone over here. All right, so that is for the pound, all right, the Great British Pounds. Up next, we'll look at the US dollar, all right, before we go to look at the actual commodities or currency pairs as the case may be. So this is the US dollar, all right, and currently the US dollar has been having a tough time, but nonetheless, there's still some bit of hope, all right, from this zone over here, all right. And why am I saying that? Because if you look to your left, you see that this was a recent break of highs, all right. This recent high was broken, all right, and it can be said that all right, the reason why I'm not using white background is because the monitor I'm using is quite large. And if I use white background, it's going to mess with my eye really, really bad. Like, really, really bad. So I'm sorry about that, but please help me manage it, okay? So currently you can see that this is a previous high, all right? This is a previous high, and this high was broken, okay? And then this was the other block that was formed. Or is that the other block before? No, this is the most recent other block from this break and retest, all right, because the other block that was formed that gave us that break of structure is over here, all right, and that other block was retested by this downward move. Okay, so right now, this is the area that is going to serve as our new demand zone, all right, so we're typically waiting for price to come into this zone, and then we can bounce higher. All right, but based on your request, let me see if I can reduce how dark this is. Not much better. All right, I think this works. All right, I think my eyes should be able to work with this a bit. All right, so let's go on. So this is the other block area that we're watching out for, and I'm naturally expecting price to react from here. All right, but that's not the only reason. That's not the only reason why I'm looking at this region. All right, that's not the only reason. Also, this area we happen to have a trend line. Let me see if it's this one. We happen to have a trend line somewhere around here. Let me see. Trying to figure out. Yeah, I think it was from this area. Yes. Yes. So from this low, all right, from this low all the way to these areas, all right, you can see that these are also weeks over here. All right. So based on that trend line coupled with the demand zone that we have here, all right, I'm naturally just expecting that plus the break of structure here, price should, or the US dollar should regain some degree of strength this week, all right? But let's quickly check on the 1 hour time frame to confirm that. So on the 1 hour time frame, you would see that price has also done something interesting. We've gotten this recent zone. Let me change the color on that. All right, we've gotten this recent zone, okay, which is interesting because this is a consolidation area. And then we've gotten this as our demand zone, all right, the other block area. So probably price comes to retest into this, and that becomes the leverage for the bullish impulse, all right. So till it possibly comes to refill or to reclaim this area of imbalance over here. All right, so that is my expectation from the dollar, some bit of strength from the dollar. Then the euro, all right, the euro, let's go to the daily time frame quickly. Yeah, as you can see from the euro, all right, we've had a break of structure at the same time here. All right, bearish break of structure. This was the other block right before that break of structure, all right, and you can see that price is currently trading around that other block, but that's not all. All right, we also have a pivot zone somewhere around here. All right, there's also a pivot zone somewhere around there. Okay, which is also going to be a bit pivotal to what we're going to expect from the market this week. All right, so naturally my expectation is that price gives us a very good reaction from inside that area. All right, and then based on that reaction, we can take the trade all the way downwards. All right, you can see this is a bullish week. All right, so this could serve as the supply zone, and then if we get right over here, if we get this, so that means that overall we're expecting the euro to get quite weaker. All right, so finally JPY basket before we start talking about currency pairs. Apologies, it seems like I've taken a lot of time talking about the indices already, but it's actually important because that's what gives us the overall directional bias that we are able to follow in our trades. All right. All right, so as you can see, price reacted from this other block, bounced higher. All right, came back, retested this one as the other block again. All right, bounced higher. Okay, and all of this simply tries to paint a picture to us that the overall trend right now has been confirmed bullish. All right, let me see, because if you look at this area, all right, which is our pivot zone, okay, you see that price has broken above our pivot zone, all right, but it's too early to conclude yet. And the reason why I'm saying that is because if you look to your left, you see that there's also this huge trend line over here that price is still struggling to break out of. All right, so my expectation is that price possibly makes a much more solid retracement. All right, makes a much more solid retracement before we then get a bounce. All right, so that's about JPY baskets. So let's quickly look at the currency pairs quickly. If you have a currency pair you'd like us to take a look at, quickly drop it in the chat box and I'm going to take an analysis on that currency pair. But in the meantime, we're going to start with Euro USD and just quickly check. Let's quickly check what that has in store for us. All right, hold on, please. Let me quickly. All right, so we'll start with Euro USD, like I said. Yeah, so this is Euro USD. Let me clear the drawings so that it doesn't become rough. All right, so as far as Euro USD is concerned, remember we talked about the fact that we're expecting some bit of strength from the dollar, all right, and possible weakness from the euro, all right. And here you can see that we also have our daily pivot zone on the Euro USD. All right, there's a daily pivot zone on Euro USD, and price is currently trading within that zone. All right, price is currently just running around within that zone. What does this mean? It means that any direction that price breaks out from this zone, all right, is a direction that you want to trade possibly for the rest of this week. All right, and I'm really serious about that because it's important that you understand things like this. Price has created this high here, all right, this week up the top here. All right, price has created this week up top here, which means that this is a real solid supply zone. All right, and at the same time, we also have this week down here, all right, which has also been retested around here. So my expectation right now is to see price break out of this pivot zone on the daily time frame, break out clearly, all right, break out clearly, and then we possibly get a retest and a drop. All right, but personally, I think I will be taking that trade earlier, all right, way before the breakout, because I'm just going to check for some confirmations of direction, and then I'll shoot my shot all through the week. I'm expecting price to come back all the way to at least this point here, all right, which would be about let me see, yeah, which will be about 300 pips, all right. About 300 pips is what I'm expecting from this trade. All right, so let's go on. Then we'll check Gbpusd. Let's see Gbpusd daily time frame quickly. As you can see, Gbpusd reacted from the zone that I marked, and that was about 2nd of January. All right, but let me remove these drawings so that we are clear on the screen. So what we're looking for is, first of all, where is the nearest pivot zone, all right, because that's what's going to determine to a large extent what we anticipate from the market. All right, so this looks like the nearest pivot zone, all right, if I'm going to be economical about it. All right, so those are the areas of the test. All right, so personally, what I'm expecting is that we see a reaction from this zone. Let's go to the 4 hours time frame so I can explain. Bearish break of structure here, all right, which leaves us with this imbalance over here as well, all right. So worst case scenario, we're expecting that price would at least come this way, all right, after reacting from possibly this area, all right. So what I can say you should do, or what I can advise for you to do, is that you can watch out for lower time frame break of structure, all right, lower time frame bearish break of structure, because that would be a fascinating trigger. All right, and you guys have not yet sent any commodities so far, so I think I'll just freestyle. I'll just continue the freestyle that I started with already. So worst case scenario, price comes all the way here. All right, comes all the way here after taking out liquidity from this week. All right, we take out liquidity from this week, and then we can now start talking about the drop. All right, so that's my bias on GBP USD. All right, AUD USD, then we'll do USD CAD, and then Usdjpy. All right, gold. Yeah, this was AUD USD, reacted perfectly from my zone, but let me remove the drawings as always so that it wouldn't constitute some issues. Let's go to the daily time frame. And I think, yep, this could be the range of our pivot zone. Yeah, that should be the range of our pivot zone. Even though price currently tried to break up outside of the zone, but it was rejected from this other block here, all right, on the daily. So let's see. And I think currently our expectation from the Australian dollar is weakness. All right, we're expecting the Australian dollar to get weaker. So looking at this now, we've had a serious bearish break of structure. All right. So that leaves us with the other block somewhere around here. All right, leaves us with the other block somewhere around here. So my expectation would be that price struggles his way up here. You can see that we've also had an imbalance at that other block. So that makes it a lot more reliable than the average one. All right. Because this equal lows ought to be taken. All right. The liquidity at this equal lows, I'm expecting it to get taken. So we can safely set our TP somewhere around here. Okay, safely somewhere around here. And that should be about, let me see. Yep, about 180 pips. About 180 pips, give or take. All right, not to now talk of the final TP, which is going to be somewhere around here. All right, somewhere around here, which should be about, let me see. Yep, that's about 250 pips. All right, so that is for AUD USD. The next one is USD CAD. Then we do Usdjpy and then gold. All right, let me take this off. All right, USD CAD daily time frame. Let's search for our pivots. All right, yes, so I think that would be a pivot zone. Yeah, that would be a pivot zone. Currently, we've seen that price has reacted from the pivot zone and bounced higher. All right, so let's go to the 1 hour time frame. The 1 hour time frame, I'm seeing this trend line, and I naturally expect this trend line to be taken. All right. However, we've gotten a huge break of structure here. All right, break of structure. The inducement was tapped and taken out. All right, so that means that currently we can naturally just expect that USD CAD should go bullish. All right, that is my bias right now, and my take profit would be somewhere around here. All right, somewhere around here, which means that as far as USD CAD is concerned, we're expecting about about 270 pips. All right, from this USD CAD setup. All right, should it play out completely all the way to our final take profit at the top here. And the reason why I'm targeting that area is you can already see that we already have equal highs here, all right, that I expect to naturally get taken as areas of liquidity sweep. Okay, so that is that. So that is that about that. Let's go to Usdjpy, then we'll do USD gold, all right, XAU-USD. So daily time frame as usual. Now remember Usdjpy, we also talked about the fact that JPY has a serious potential to go bullish. All right, let me show you that quickly. I just want to quickly confirm what direction we analyzed for JPY basket. All right, bearish. Okay, so that was our bias for JPY basket. Bearish. Okay, so I think that simply clears things up for us on the USDJPY. So let's see quickly, where is our pivot? Okay. All right, perfect. So that tells us we have a pivot at that point. Okay. I just needed to confirm for security reasons. And having seen that, we've also seen that the other block right over here, all right, was what price reacted to at that spot. Let's see the 1 hour time frame. Let's see the 1 hour time frame. Yes, 1 hour time frame. Price has reacted from this other block. All right, give us this gigantic break of structure. All right, it was an impulsive break of structure. Then we also created another one here, which at the moment is already looking like an AMD pattern. All right, at the moment, this is already looking like an AMD pattern accumulation. And we've gotten the manipulation. So what I'm expecting now is that the same thing plays out again. All right, so perhaps price comes back all the way down here. All right, takes out trend line liquidity, takes out possible equal lows liquidity. All right, takes out possible equal lows liquidity, and then when we get that bounce into the zone, all right, price can literally just push higher. Okay, and I think that that is a huge probability because this drop was simply a reaction from this resistance trend line, all right, this resistance trend line. So when we come back for this retest, we should be able to get enough momentum to break above that trend line, all right, and completely out of this wedge, all right. Maybe first TP should be somewhere around here, all right. Second TP can be somewhere around here. Third TP can be somewhere around here. All right, which means that if price gets to our final take profit from this USDJPY trade, we're expecting nothing less than, yep, 890 pips. All right, so that is for USDJPY. So finally, gold, all right, as it is that currently tonight, it seems you guys have decided not to ask for. Okay, GBP card. All right, I'll look at GBP card as well. Okay, so that's what we have right now. So let's see gold. All right. Daily time frame gold. We're talking about dollar getting stronger, which means that gold is most likely going to be getting weaker this week. All right. So let's see where our pivot zones. All right, let's see. Okay. Oh, yes, that looks like a good one. All right, so gold. You see that currently we had a recent break of structure or a bearish break of structure. This is the daily time frame. All right, bearish break of structure in that regard. We also have, let me see, I'm trying to check this area. All right, we have that other block zone, all right, that gave us that break of structure. And as you can see, it has not been retested yet. Price is currently approaching the other block, all right, but we have the other one, all right, which is an other block and a pivot zone up here, all right. We have the other block and the pivot zone up here. So what we're typically going to wait to see, let me see the 1 hour time frame. All right, let me see the 1 hour time frame. So let me see. Okay. So what I would wait to see is price entering into that other block. All right, then I can study the reaction of price from that other block. Okay, I can study the reaction of price from that other block. However, there's also a secondary opportunity that seems to have presented itself. We've seen this AMD over here, right? The breakout. This is the manipulation. All right, so price should react from the retest of this area. All right, so we probably would have something like this. All right, something like this. All right, we'll probably get to have something like this, and then price reacting possibly all the way down here, because you can see equal lows over here. All right, so if price does not react from this other block, let me mark it. Price does not react from this other block, all right, based on this break of structure. I think that other block has also been retested. Yes, it has. All right, so if price doesn't react from there, then we're coming all the way down here to fill up this imbalance. All right, so that is for gold, okay? And then GBP card. I'm only going to be taking US oil next, and then we'll wrap up for tonight. GBP card, let's see, daily time frame. All right, GBP card. Let me see. All right, that's a good one. So let's go to the 1 hour time frame. You can see that currently GBP card is trading in between these zones, all right, these areas. All right, and I think that we also have a temporary pivot somewhere around here. All right, we have a temporary pivot somewhere around there. So the 1 hour time frame, this is what price has done, all right, as at the current market state. Okay, so looking at this now, it looks like, yes, we've gotten the break of structure to the downward side, right, to the bearish direction, but I think that there's still a huge possibility that price comes back for a retest into this other block, all right, just to take out some of the competition, all right, and then before we can say, all right, price approached here and then continued higher. All right, and the reason why I'm anticipating that is because currently we can see that the strength of the movement, all right, the strength of the impulse is already dwindling, all right, and if it comes into this area, all right, either this one or this one, all right, if it comes into either of these areas with this kind of momentum, it is definitely going to be pushed back up. All right, and when it gets pushed back up, it can come into this other block here, all right, or this one here, all right, and then we'll get the bearish movement into this other block right over here. Okay, before the bullish trend can continue. As you can all see, the most recent break of structure was a bullish break of structure, judging from all of this that we have over here. All right, so that is my bias on GBP card. All right, so finally we'll take US oil and then we'll wrap up for tonight. Now, categorically, since we're talking about dollar gaining strength, all right, the dollar being stronger, it simply means that if we're going to be realistic, we should be expecting some bearish momentum from US oil. All right, and where are our pivots? Right, I think we have a pivot over here. Yeah, so we have our pivots here. All right, we've also seen a bearish break of structure. US oil is the final one I'll be taking for tonight. I'm sorry about that. I think I told a couple of the people close to me, I'm currently trying to just recuperate from a very stressful week that I had last week, right? So apologies, I'll only take this US oil, and based on the correlation from the DXY, you should be able to figure out US oil pretty much on your own. Since I'm sure that you're my student and you've gone through the course, so I'm certain that you can handle that on your own. Okay, so currently this is the state of US oil, all right? It's currently very, very, how do I describe this now? All right, it's currently sandwiched between this, this pivot zone, all right? However, it looks like it has intentions of coming a bit higher, right, before the drop. And why am I saying that? This area currently constitutes a kind of AMD pattern, all right, which is accumulation, manipulation, distribution. All right, well, this is our accumulation. All right, this is the manipulation that we've seen so far. This is the distribution. All right, so price coming back for a retest would simply give us the new direction. All right, we might get to see a liquidity grab. Equal highs. All right. Before the drop continues. Now, remember, this is the daily time frame, all right? So it may not necessarily play out exactly like this. Why am I saying that? Because at the same time, despite all of this, we also have this really solid supply zone here. Why is it a solid supply zone? Because it's also overlapping with the pivot zone or the pivot area. So we can go to the 1 hour time frame, see what price is doing in that vicinity, and then base our conclusions on that. Okay, I think I'm seeing something cool here. All right, structure has been broken. Our supply zone remains up here, which price is currently testing into. So that tells us that if DXY reacts the way we have said it should react, which is gaining strength, all right, we should see this drop all the way, at least to somewhere around here. All right, so Usoil should drop that far, and you can use this to juxtapose what exactly is going on US30 at the same time. All right, so you can combine all of these factors together to arrive at the conclusion that you need. All right, for those of you who probably joined us late and you missed a couple of the analysis, don't worry. The video is going to be available on YouTube. The link is going to be shared in the Telegram group so that you can go over it and formulate your positional bias or your directional bias for the rest of the week. All right, so that brings us to the end of tonight's market review session. My name remains Adetola Freeman, and it's been an absolute pleasure having you guys tonight. Have a fantastic trading week, and God bless you. See you again next week, and bye-bye.